The next speaker is Dr. Sergey Alexandrovich Soloviev from Pisarjevsky Institute of Physical Chemistry. Do please.
Основной задачей современной науки о катализе является создание катализаторов с
science is to create the catalyst with high efficacy of active phase, with high selectivity and high activity. In a number of cases, this task can be resolved by creating a structured catalyst, by regulating macro and microstructure of the surface. So they're different from typical catalysts with low resistance, with compact size, compactness. The main works in the Institute of Chemistry and Catalysts is to develop the technology of purification of gas exhausts for engines of internal combustion and methane conversion with the obtaining of hydrogen. The most widely spread form of structured catalysts is blocks that are used to obtain catalytic neutralizers, which are used in most of the cars produced today. And from this table you can see as the European norms get stricter and stricter, the requirements to toxicity of gas exhaust, the concentration of platinum metals and correlation between the components of catalyst is increased. And therefore, the main task when creating the catalyst for neutralizing the exhaust fumes is to minimize the metals, because the platinum metals mostly used to produce such neutralizers. So this tax can be used and it can be solved by adding modified additives, the rare earth elements, and this leads to stabilizing the catalyst of components in the nanoscale range, which will in consequence lead to decrease the platinum metals at catalyst by 25%. And it also helps increase the stability of porous structure of the catalyst, decreasing the price for catalyst, and the catalyst can comply with the stricter environmental requirements. Using these technologies, using these approaches, we had developed the catalysts. And the tests showed that the activity supersedes the foreign knowledges. And neutralizing the car exhausts can be done by partial replacement of platinum metals by other oxide compositions. And it is shown that this combination palladium in particular is contained here not as a metal but as a charged state, and it is dispersed at the platinum cation palladium +2, but it can also be as part of the surface clusters, including platinum atoms and oxide composition. And this leads to increased number of active centers, which gives not only activity of catalyzers, but it can comply with stricter environmental norms, work at lower temperatures. So using these approaches, the active component increases disbursement of active components, as can be seen from these photographs. And on this picture, you can see the picture of a catalyst. The process of oxidizing conversion of methane are in the basis of the technology of obtaining the ammonia, hydrogen, metal, spirit, and others. Usually the oxygen conversion of methane to granulated catalysts is used. These catalysts are granules with several holes in them. And we have shown that using the structured catalyst with a small wall thickness enables us to increase the efficacy of catalysts by several fold and 10 or 100 fold. This is achieved because this technology allows us to stabilize metallic nickel, which is the main component of nanodisperse diapason, 10 to 15 meters. And using these structures allows us to increase the efficacy of catalysts and catalytic reaction, and also simplifies the stage of loading and unloading the catalyst into the reactor. Usually, using the structured catalyst allows us to implement this process of tri-reforming of methane. It is different from the well-known process due to the fact that in this process, not only water is engaged, but oxygen as well. And this enables us to do a thermally neutral process without the heat from gaseous phase. And also, it allows us to synthesize the gas with a regulated ratio of hydrogen and carbon monoxide. So this synthesized gas can be used as methanol or dimethyl ether, and as a component in engine oil. The advantages of this process of tri-reform methane is that this process allows to process shaft methane, shale gas. It allows to obtain synthesized gas with ratio of hydrogen to CO. Besides, this process allows for disposal of greenhouse gases, CO2 and methane, with a complex of processing natural gas accompanied by the methane without their homologs. And expected results. We expect to develop a new technology based on this one to process low concentration coal mine methane and shale gases. In order to obtain the synthesized gas for the next cycle of production, valuable organic compounds, motor fuel components, ethyls, and Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. So next steps that we plan to do is we plan to search for partners for joint research. We look for investors for further research to improve the catalyst and technology, and we expect to conduct a resource and pilot tests in order to establish what our catalysts are capable of in industrial conditions. Potential markets for these catalysts. As automobile industry, the automobile service, and diesel generators, the oxidizing process which converts the natural gas into other products, and the technology of catalyst production. This is our offer and the contact information. Okay, is there any question? Okay, how these catalysts are different from the known catalysts on the market? Okay, catalysis is a specific phenomenon. There are no catalysts per se. Okay, in this processes, the oxidation and conversion of methane, instead of grain catalysts, we use the hexagonal catalysts, and the methane conversion reaction occurs with higher temperature, and there's an external diffusion region, and the depth of permeability of chemical reaction into the grain of catalyst is very low. And we'll use the beehive structure or hexagonal structure, which where the walls correspond to the depth of the layer. So we have a very high permeability into the catalyst, and this will lead to this efficacy by 1 or 2-fold. Besides, these catalysts will be less prone to carbonization, because there's some sort of competition between carbon formation and homolog formation and oxidation of carbon. Since the molecular diffusion ratio of methane is higher than the CO2 or H2O, the carbon is aggregated from within the catalyst, whereas the beehive structure or hexagonal structure doesn't have this property. Okay, the last question. Are you sure that with steam and are you sure you don't have to add heat to it? No, the main principle is that this process can be implemented in thermally neutral situation. What does it mean? Endo effect is compensated by exo effect, and through this we achieve no temperature gradient on the catalyst radius, an axis and radial line. So these processes are much easier to calculate. But still, it's going to be heated. Of course, it's going to be heated. You have to heat it up before the reaction. But still, the temperature gradients in the catalysis zones are different. Thank you.